bit of practice with period stuff, we're just going to go on and do a couple more problems, such as y equals the cosine of 2 times x minus pi over 2. All right. So what letters of the alphabet are we using here? A, B, C, D. Which ones? It's froze. That doesn't help. There. What letters of the alphabet are we using here? On this one, and I'll get my things out of the way. B and C. So what I'm going to do first is graph my regular cosine curve, then work with my B, then work with my C. Okay? Now, my C is minus pi over 2. What is that in the end going to do? What is this going to shift? It's going to shift my graph pi over 2 to the right. Okay? So I need to, just know that everything has to work with pi over 2. So you know what? I think I'll go 4 to get to pi over 2. And 8 to get to pi. And 10 to get to 3 pi over 2. And 12 to get to 2. Or 4, 8, 12, 16 to get to 2 pi. 1, 2, negative 1, negative 2. What do you think I should graph first? Y equals cosine of x. Yep. Graph your normal cosine curve first. 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1. Looks like that. Now if I'm going to deal with my period, y equals the cosine of 2x. B equals 2, so everything is twice as close. Okay, because 2 pi divided by 2 is pi, so my period is going to be pi long, so everything's going to be squeezed down, twice as close. So this doesn't change. Pi over 2 was 4, now it's 2. See why I made it 4? Mr. Biersbach thinking a little bit. Instead of being 8 over, I go 4 over. Instead of being 12 over, I go 6 over. Instead of being 16 over, I go 8 over. And then what do I do in the very next step after that? I move everything pi over 2 to the right. Pi over 2 is 4 spaces to the right. So 4 spaces to the right. Everything goes 4 spaces to the right. And there I am. That's what it should look like. Okay? Okay. The last one I'm going to go over here, and I might have to go over 2 of these because, sometimes when I do these, mind equals blown. So let's say y equals the cosine of pi over 2x minus 3 pi over 2. Whoa. That's a strange b. What's 2 pi divided by pi over 2? What's 2 pi divided by pi over 2? Well, if we multiply both the top and bottom by 2, the 2's cancel. 2's cancel on the bottom, and the top becomes 4 pi, right? But I still got a pi on the bottom. So it's going to be 4 pi over pi. So if we cancel the pi's, it's just going to be 4. Period is 4 long, not 4 pi, just 4. So what happens here is when you make your graph, you're not going to go pi over 2 pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay? Now, yeah, I didn't do the best job there, but I'll leave it. So, what I have to do here, though, with this thing is B should be on the outside of the parentheses, right? So if B is going to be on the outside of the parentheses, I have to factor it out. So y should equal cosine of pi over 2 times x minus 3 pi over 2 divided by pi over 2 is just plain simple 3. Now, on a problem like this, I can't graph the normal cosine curve because the normal cosine curve uses pi's and all this stuff. And my axis just has normal numbers on it. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to graph y equals the cosine of pi over 2x. Now, where do you think I should start when I'm graphing y equals pi over 2x? Where do you think I start with the cosine? Where have we started every other single cosine? 0, 1, right? Okay. My period's going to be 4, so I should finish up in 4, right? So my end of it is going to be here at 4. And halfway in between, I'm going to be at -1, right? And halfway in between there is where I cross my axes, right? And all of a sudden, hey, there's a graph with 1, 2, 3, 4. That's if your period is 4. If your period would be 8, this would be 2, 4, 6, and 8 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, what does this crazy minus pi over 3 do to it? Well, that makes, or minus 3 do to it. Well, that moves everything to the right by 3. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 to the right. Oh, went too far because there are 4 in between. 1, 2, 3 to the right. That's what that one looks like. Okay? So it's a little different. So you have to graph it with the B in front and then your final answer. Did everybody get that? Or do you want to see another one of those? Oh, you want to see another one? That's good, because I think you should see another one. Y equals the sine of pi over 4x plus pi over 4. First step, I should probably factor out my what? B, pi over 4. And then I get x plus what? Not so fast, my friend. When we factor out, we divide. So it's x plus 1. All right. So my b is pi over 4. So if my b is pi over 4, I got to figure out my numbers. What is my period? Well, it's going to be 2 pi divided by pi over 4. So my period is going to be 2 pi basically divided by, well, if we multiply by 4, I'm going to get 8 pi over pi, right? Because these cancel. And if the pi's cancel, my period is going to be 8. So when I draw my graph, I got to have that in consideration when I draw it. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, -1. Okay, so the first graph I'm going to draw is y equals sine of pi over 4x, because that's what I took out, okay? So where do I start sine of at? 0, 0. And then where am I going to end at? 8, 0. And halfway in between, I'm going to be at 4, 0. So my graph goes up first, so halfway in between 0 and 4 is 2, so I'm going to be there first. Halfway in between 4 and 8 is 6, I'm going to be there then. And there we go. That's sine of pi over 4x. So now, as my last step, I have to graph this. Where do I move the graph? 1 to the left. 1 to, come on, Mr. Bierschweck. 1 to the left. Okay? So, your second assignment is on the same page, 127, 19 through 25, the odds. So 19, 21, 23, and 25. So 8 total problems.